So today, we're going to break down some seriously powerful advice from a doctor on how to completely recompose your body. And look, this isn't about some quick fix. This is about building a stronger, more resilient body that's going to serve you not just now, but for decades to come. All right, let's jump right in. First things first, let's kick off with a big question. At what age are you actually old? Is there a number? 65? 75? The answer might not be what you think, because it has way less to do with the year you were born and everything to do with a mindset and a set of habits that are totally within our control. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. We've all been sold this myth that getting older means an unavoidable slide into weakness and frailty, but that's just not true. We can absolutely change our health trajectory, and it doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, or 60. It's all about those intentional daily investments you make in yourself. To get there, though, we need a major shift in thinking. For so long, the goal for so many of us has just been weight loss, right? That number on the scale. But we need to throw that out. The new goal, the smarter goal, is body recomposition. It's not about losing weight. It's about changing what that weight is actually made of. Yeah, just like the doctor says here, stop saying lose weight. We're gonna recompose. We're gonna build muscle, and that new muscle is literally gonna replace the fat. Now, here's the crucial part. Muscle is way denser than fat, so the number on the scale might not even move that much. But your body, your metabolism, your actual health, it's gonna be a world of difference. So, where do you start? Well, there's this period called the critical decade. This is the time between ages 35 and 45. Seriously, the habits you lock in here are gonna lay the foundation for the entire second half of your life. It's that important. The science is pretty clear that right around age 40, our bodies take their first big biological hit. Our cellular repair systems just start to get a little less efficient. But hey, this isn't a reason to panic. Think of it as a wake-up call. It's the perfect moment to start building the resilience you're going to need for the future. And during this decade, you've got 4 non-negotiables. These are the pillars. You've got to build bone density, you've got to prioritize mobility, and of course, build lean muscle. But look what's at number 1. The absolute top of the list, the thing you have to nail before anything else, is mastering your sleep. And there's a really simple reason for that. If you're not getting consistent, quality sleep, you just won't have the physical energy or the mental horsepower to tackle anything else on that list. It becomes even more crucial in our 40s because that's when hormonal shifts can start to really mess with our natural sleep patterns. Sleep is everything. Okay, so you've nailed the foundation, especially sleep. Now, let's get into the fun stuff, the actual engine for change. This is the specific, actionable formula for actively recomposing your body. It's a simple but incredibly powerful 3-part plan. You're going to lift heavy, you're going to feed that muscle with enough protein so it can actually grow, and you're going to sprint. These 3 things working together create this amazing stimulus for your body to build muscle and torch fat. Now, lift heavy doesn't mean what you might think. We're talking about leaving behind those endless high-rep workouts we did in our 20s. The focus now is on building true, raw strength with fewer, more intense reps. So think big compound movements, your squats, your deadlifts, and aim for something like 4 reps for 4 sets. And what about cardio? Well, it all comes down to the 80-20 rule. 80% of your cardio should be low-intensity, steady-state stuff. This builds a super efficient base. It's basically upgrading the little energy factories in your cells. Then, that other 20%, that's reserved for all-out, max-effort sprinting. And this is a really important distinction. This is not the same as a typical HIIT workout. Most HIIT classes keep you in that 75 to 85% heart rate zone for a long time, which actually carries a pretty high risk of injury. True sprinting is about pushing to your absolute maximum for a short burst. It sends a much, much more powerful signal to your body to adapt and change. All right, so that's the core exercise formula. But let's talk about a few other essential habits we need to layer on top to build a truly resilient body that's ready for the long haul. Muscle gets all the glory, but what about our skeleton? It turns out there's a surprisingly simple and often totally overlooked key to building rock-solid bones. And that key is impact. That's it. Things like jumping, skipping rope, even just running up a flight of stairs. These activities send a powerful signal to our body telling it to build stronger, denser bones. There's actually a cool scientific principle behind this called Wolff's Law. It basically just says that our bones are smart. They remodel themselves based on the stress you put on them. So that mechanical force from jumping gets translated into a direct biochemical order. Hey, build more bone right here. And of course, we can't forget about mobility and balance. These are so critical for preventing falls later in life. And look, this doesn't have to be some huge, complicated routine. Simple habits, like doing a dynamic warm-up before you work out, or even just standing on one foot while you brush your teeth, they can make a massive, massive difference over time. So why are we talking about all this? Why does it matter so much? Well, it all connects back to one huge ultimate goal: avoiding something called the frailty line and making sure we live a long, active, and independent life. And to really get this, we have to talk about a metric called VO2 max. All it is a measure of how efficiently your body can use oxygen during exercise. It's the gold standard for measuring your cardiorespiratory fitness, and it's one of the single best predictors of longevity. Now, here's the harsh reality. If we just sit back and do nothing, our VO2 max declines by about 10% every single decade. You can see it on this chart. It's a slow, steady slide away from vitality and towards a future where we just can't do the things we love.
And that downward slide is heading towards a specific point, the frailty line. This is a real thing. It's a hard number, a VO2 max below 18 for men or 16 for women, where you literally can't perform the basic daily tasks to care for yourself anymore. It is the line between independence and dependence.
But, and this is the most empowering part of this whole thing, this is not your destiny. It is not inevitable. You can actively fight back and increase your VO2 max. Remember that 20% sprinting we talked about? That's your weapon. High-intensity training, like 4-minute all-out intervals, can literally reverse this decline and make sure you never even get close to that line.
So, in the end, it all comes down to this. Every single choice you make, how you move, how you eat, how you sleep, it's an investment in your future self. So the only question left is, what kind of future are you building?